Oh, hey, in this video I thought I'd go through both Weir and Garcia's parts of the great song Sugaree. I think it is worth spending a little bit of time just thinking about music theory, because with just a little bit of reflection, the whole song kind of falls into place, and it can help you understand what Garcia's doing when you go thinking about soloing. The chords in the song are going to be B, E, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, A, and E. With that first chord as a B, people are inclined to think, well, if it's starting with a B, so I should think B major. That actually makes the other chords hard to sort of fit into that framework. And it's not always that every chord is going to fit. So it's not like it's just a math puzzle where everything is going to fit. But the song makes much more sense from a music theory perspective, and also when you hear it, if you just think about it, instead of being in B major, if you think about it being in B mixolydian. So what does that mean? It means we're taking the B major scale and we're taking that seventh note in the scale, which would be the A sharp, and we're flattening it to an A. So we've got B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, and now A and B. And when we do that, we've got the notes that are in the E major scale. The B mixolydian has the same notes as the E major scale. And the way to confirm that is, mixolydian is the fifth one in the order of modes. Ionian, Dorian, Phrygian, Lydian, mixolydian, Aeolian, and Locrian. So it's the fifth. So you ask yourself, if it's B mixolydian, what major scale would have B in the fifth position? The answer is E. So once you recognize that you're working with the notes in the E major scale, then you think about what the corresponding chords will be. Well, just think the major chords are 1, 4, and 5. So E would be our 1, A would be our 4, B would be our 5. So we've got those three chords that are in the song. The F sharp, that's going to be minor for the E major scale. So also the C sharp minor will be in there as well. So it's actually, if it's instructive, to actually sit down and write down all the notes that are in the E major scale. And then for each one, count. Figure out what is the third note, what is the fifth note, and then see what chords you get. And you end up with E major, F sharp minor, G sharp minor, A major, B major, C sharp major, D sharp. If you do it, you end up with the notes D sharp, F sharp, and A, which is the flattened third, and the flattened fifth, which is the diminished chord. Doing all of that has just magically all the chords in the song, they all fit now. And that means that when you go ahead and do your soloing, think about using the E major scale with the B note being one that gets lots of emphasis. All right, so let's just go through some of the riffs that introduce the song, then the chord progression, and then we'll start mucking around in some of the details. The distinctive riff is going to be based off the notes of a B. So think about what the 1, the 3, and the 5 notes of the B are. What are the notes that make up the B major? Well, B, F sharp, and D sharp. And we get those. The very first, often the way he starts is on an F sharp. Down to an down to an open E. You can't see my hand, but that's what the E sounds like. E, then a little suspension. The suspension, officially E sus4, but its point is it brings in that A that we were just talking about, because we're thinking about B mixolydian with the flattened 7, so instead of A sharp, we've got A. Think about the other notes that we've got now to make use of when we're doing this opening riff. We've got E, F sharp, G sharp. Here they are up here, F sharp, G sharp, here's our D sharp, here's our C sharp, here's our B, our E. Put them all together to show you some of the stuff that we get. We're going from there. Now, when we get to the verses and the chorus, the chords we're going to use in order. E, that lick, F sharp, G sharp, B. When they come, take you down. When they bring back, drag you around. F sharp minor, S, W, C sharp minor, A, just one thing for me, E's for baby, C sharp minor, now down, A's up, chords, C sharp minor, we go back to the alternate B again. As I said in the beginning, one of the things that's interesting and useful in using Sugaree as a way of thinking about both Weir and Garcia's approach is that he's got different strategies in mind when he's soloing. Sometimes he's often will start with a nod to the melody of the song. Other times he'll be soloing over the changes. Unfortunately, the changes for the solo breaks are just the B chord and the E. The notes, though, that he's using, as I said, are going to be off of the B mixolydian, which are the same notes as are in the E major. So you want to think about the different places on the neck where you can get the E major scale. One of the places that is useful is thinking about making your E chord at the 4th fret here, and what the corresponding notes would be, starting on the B. So the notes in the E major scale, but starting on the B. So B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B. And there's your G sharp again, and our F sharp. When he gets up to some of the blistering stuff, he's going to use that same pattern. Slide it up 12 frets so that you're moving from the 19th to the 16th. When he's working off of the changes, there are a couple things that he likes to do. One is a little riff that makes use of the B and the G sharp down to the F sharp. Then move it up and do the same riff off of the E, C sharp, B, and then alternate on the beat. Think about the other places that you can do it. So here's our B again. Here's that G sharp. sometimes after he's doing that blistering stuff where he's not working off of the changes, say up the 19th and the 16th, he'll return to basically the chord changes. Now, that's not one of the reasons why it's useful to be thinking about this way, is that's the strategy he often uses when he's soloing. That's really hard for people who aren't playing jazz guitar, is to think about making the changes that you're soloing over the changes of the chords. Now, fortunately, the notes in the B chord and the E chord are all contained in the E major scale, so you don't actually have to be changing scales as you do in some songs, but it's a question of emphasis. So, other things, when he's playing when he's not really moving over the changes, but more sort of melodic, sometimes he'll do stuff on the E major scale around the 12th fret, bending on the C sharp. Mixolydian, even though we're using notes in the E major scale, you want to try to make that B note, if not the one that you're starting on again, you want to highlight it, get it prominent in that soloing. Now, what about Weir's parts? This song is one of those, unfortunately, where Bobby is just in Jerry's shadow, often just as a matter of volume. Garcia would play this song, especially in the early 80s, would play it extremely loud, making it very, very hard to hear what Weir was doing, as unfortunately is often the case. It's worth checking out Weir's versions of Sugaree in other groups that he was in, such as Rat Dog or Further, or even Scaring the Children, where you can really see what he's doing and hear what he's doing. Often the very same moves that he was doing with the Dead, but that you just couldn't hear. So one thing to start doing is just think about the different places where he's going to be voicing those chords, and then we'll talk a little bit about the choices that he makes and some of the riffs that he uses. So, the classic Bobby choice of the E is going to be grabbing the E on the 7th, the G sharp, and then get the octave of your E here. And if you want your little suspension, there's your A. And that's one that he certainly likes to use lots of different songs, from Jack Straw to even He's Gone and Black-Throated Wind. Sometimes he picks up the little riff. Instead of Garcia doing it, the F sharp, G sharp, B, Weir will do it, especially when things like when he's outside of the Dead. So one way to get the B is the B scale, get the little inversion that he likes to use, grabbing the D sharp here, plain old B up at the 7th fret. You want getting a little chirping, emphasizing the high strings. Another way of getting a B is get your B here, F sharp there, get your B, so it's sort of a B5. Another place of doing the E would be an E5. Take your bar from the E and then grab the high two notes. One that he does like to use in this song is the E with the inversion, getting the G, and then grab that B. F sharp minor all the way up at the 9th, C sharp minor also at the 9th, E at the 9th with that inversion, A also at the 9th. Now, in addition to all the different voicings that we've been talking about, and I kind of missed another way of voicing the B that he will use, just taking that D shape, sliding what we were using with the A, slide it all the way up to the 11th. Make sure you get the low strings, the B and the D sharp. So there are the voicings that make his sound distinctive. Then there's also his rhythm and the way he has of sort of being off the beat or adding accents or letting Garcia really set the groove and then coming in on certain songs, not all, but on certain ones, sort of hanging back and waiting to add his contribution instead of just cranking out the rhythm the way a lot of traditional rhythm players do. And the final thing is his use of single note runs. So for this song, think about, if you want, if it's an E major scale, the corresponding minor would be the C sharp minor scale, either in the pentatonic form or the full minor. And you'll hear him doing little riffs like this one. F sharp, G sharp, E, C sharp, back to the B. Another one is just to play around off of that E5. So often just sort of be on the lookout for places where you can just throw in little riffs in between instead of just doing plain old chords. Now let me just turn to sort of a Weir type rhythm approach to this song. Again, the kind of thing that you can hear more easily in non-dead performances, but in some versions of the Dead you can hear it as well. So let me run through that now, give you a sense of a Bobby-like approach.